Story 1. Buy a case of water. Go to a nearby park that is usually very busy and sell the water for $1 each. Story 2. At Target, I can get a 40-ounce store brand peanut butter for $3.99. I can get a loaf of bread for $1.99 and an 18-ounce store brand strawberry preserves for $2.69. That leaves me with $1. To the strip club I go. Story 3. Step 1. Find a Costco. Step 2. Sustain yourself entirely on free samples. Step 3. Continue until they start recognizing you. Story 4. What do I already have? Where am I? And what time of year is it? This question is very important. I am Canadian and live near the woods. In August, I can forage and survive easily for a week. In February, I will struggle to survive unless I can seek assistance in a nearby city for cash. It greatly depends on the starting conditions. Story 5. Nothing else, naked and afraid. No shoes, no identification, no friends, no city, no shelter, just $10. It would be hard because there is nowhere to spend it. You walk into a grocery store and start eating. You get kicked out. You walk into another store, start eating, and eventually the police take you to jail. You get a bed and food. When you get out, you go back to the store and eat again. Story 6. As someone living on $0 in a month, I would personally get rice. Then, I would use the sauce packets I have collected from various places and add different ones to each meal. Right now, I can only survive by eating once a week. It's a struggle and very tiring, but at the end of the day, I'm still here. Taco Bell sauce makes anything enjoyable, trust me. When you ask for it, they give you a lot, which is perfect for people with no money. Story 7. Dollar Tree, 5.00. Pancake mix, 1.25. Breakfast. Syrup or honey, 1.25. Condiment. Peanut butter, 1.25. Lunch. Juice, 1.25. Drink until empty, then becomes a water jug. Walmart, 3.80. Ramen, 0.30 times 6 is equal to 1.80. Dinner. Bananas, 0.25 times 4 is equal to 1.00. Breakfast or lunch. Bread, 1.00. Lunch. City Hall, library, park, 0.00. Water refill, 0.00. Fill empty juice jug. Entertainment, 0.00. Knowledge, 0.00. Story 8. Community gardens and food banks provide essential support. To be honest, this question requires more background information. Does the $10 need to cover shelter as well as food? What about bills? In which country are you living, and what currency is the $10 based on? Having $10 for food while having other needs covered is a significantly better situation than having $10 to cover all of your needs. Story 9. You need white rice for energy and soy sauce for salt. Can last a week with me. If you're still hungry for something else, potatoes, watermelon, and bananas are the most affordable fresh foods. Story 10. That's a tough budget to work with in 2025. Back in 2018, I survived on $20 Canadian per week for 3 months. It was tough then. I imagine it is impossible now. Back then, it was $5 for 4 kilograms of rice, $3 for a dozen eggs, $2 for 4 to 5 bananas, and I allocated $10 for pork or chicken. I only shopped at my local Asian grocery store and an Indian corner store. I ate 2 times per day and cooked 3 types of combinations using the ingredients mentioned. I prepared all the meals on Sunday and froze them in individual containers for the entire week. It was usually 85% rice and 15% protein. I typically had 2 to 3 frozen meals left over after 6 days because my friends would regularly invite me over to help them finish their leftovers. Story 11. 2 Little Caesars pizzas per week. That's a slice every day with a bonus meal on the weekends, and enough cardboard to make a shelter and a loincloth. Story 12. I am going to the food bank and surviving on the food I have in my house. What I would do with the $10 is probably try to buy inexpensive items to sell, like water bottles, and sell them for a little more for profit. then I would have $15. Story 13. Even if I took public transit to work, I would spend $20 just to get there. I would have to walk 6 miles both ways just to have enough to eat. I guess I could ride my bike. I'm not going to make it. Story 14. Costco rotisserie chicken is priced at $4.99, along with rice and frozen green beans. Remove all the meat from the chicken on the first day and refrigerate it. Cook a pot of rice and place it in the fridge. Prepare the green beans as well. For a meal, mix the chicken, rice, and green beans with a little olive oil and salt. Enjoy this meal twice a day. You can also substitute plain pasta for the rice and use a jar of sauce in place of the green beans. Story 15. A 10-pound bag of potatoes and a large package of chicken drumsticks, approximately 4 to 5 pounds. The chicken drumsticks usually cost $5 to $6, but I have seen those with an approaching sell-by date for around $4. Story 16. Honestly, I'm surprised nobody has mentioned Nextdoor. I regularly see posts from nearby areas about struggling single mothers who have recently lost their jobs and are facing hard times. People respond by sharing what they have in their pantries and offering to deliver it to those in need. I know this because these individuals provide updates thanking the entire community for their support. People will give out food directly, so if you are willing to accept help, you can continue to eat. Story 17. 1 week equals 7 days, resulting in 21 meals. Option 1. If you can survive on the same food, get the noodle cups at 30 cents each. For 21 cups, the total cost is $7, including tax. Option 2. Buy 6 noodle cups for $2, 1 bunch of cilantro for $1, 2 onions for $1.10, a pack of 25 tacos for $2.20, ground chicken for $1.50, ground beef for $2.20, and seasonings for $1. The total cost will be close to $10. The choice of meat will dictate the price. This option also provides 21 meals. Story 18. $5 on dry pasta. Dry pasta costs about $1 per pound. It doubles in weight when cooked, resulting in 2 pounds of cooked pasta per day. While not very nutritious, it helps maintain energy levels and keeps hunger at bay. With the other $5, I would look for the cheapest bulk frozen protein available, likely bone-in chicken legs or a similar option. Story 19. If I have little money and no food, I will probably go to a food bank. Potatoes. 2. Salt and pepper. 3. Cheapest protein you can find. If you have enough left over for butter, get that too, but the last time I checked, butter is very expensive right now. Story 20. Date for dinner. I went 6 months without seeing a dollar bill while living off the grid for 4 years. It's not that hard. Make friends and they will share. People are generous. Attend events and let others know you don't have money. Volunteer at local organizations and you'll get fed. Story 21. Find a lonely grandmother and give her all the attention and conversation she deserves. You will never go lacking. Grandmothers are a source of strength. Story 22. Eat the food that's in my freezer and cupboard, walk places, and hope rent isn't due that week. If food that's already in my home is off limits, then I'm going to Aldi for bread, peanut butter, pasta, and bananas. Story 23. My local Walmart. 3 ramen packets, $1. Blue Bonnet margarine, $1.28. Bakery French bread, $1. Generic value peanut butter, $2. Generic value frozen mixed vegetables, $1.08. Generic value white rice, 97 cents. Garlic bulb, 67 cents. Deli cheese, $2. Total $10. Now I can make garlic butter noodles, peanut noodles, vegetable fried rice, garlic butter fried rice, peanut butter toast, vegetable ramen soup, plain rice, and a grilled cheese sandwich. If I have no seasoning or sauces, I would go to Panda Express for soy sauce and sriracha sauce packets, Starbucks for sugar and honey packets, a diner for salt and pepper packets, and a Pizza Spot or Costco for Parmesan and chili flakes. I even have 2 leftover ramen seasoning packets to make broth. Then I would ask for samples at all the grocery store delis. It will be the only way to get some meat. Story 24. Hit the subway, Union Square, and Central Park to perform and play guitar. You can probably earn $20 to $40 per day, which can be used to buy food. Story 25. This assumes you do not already have any food at home. If you did, then it would be easy to avoid spending money for a week. If you did not, you could search the weekly advertisements and digital coupons to find 99-cent deals. Story 26. Buy a dozen packs of ramen, a loaf of bread, and peanut butter. Also, visit a food pantry to supplement if possible. I know that churches in my area serve meals throughout the week as well. Try to build your stock in your pantry and stretch your food as much as you can. Story 27. My church has a food pantry that provides bags of groceries to anyone in need. Start calling around. Many Methodist churches have outreach programs. It is likely that many other types of churches do as well. Story 28. Food pantries at public high schools and churches typically provide assistance to anyone in need. You do not need to have connections to the school or attend the church. My university also has food bank shelves that offer free food, and it's hard not to find something just walking around campus. There are also food pantry boxes, usually located by fire stations, that people keep stocked with canned goods and ramen. Story 29. Beans and rice. To truly extend your meals, you can eat only one meal a day and sleep through the hunger. Story 30. If you shop at the dollar store on the right days and use their paper and digital coupons, you can fill your cart with food for less than $10. Story 31. 2 pounds of pinto beans, $2. 2 pounds of rice, $1.50. Block of cheddar, $2. Salsa, $2. Flour, $1.50. You'll need to borrow some shortening from someone to finish the tortillas, but otherwise you are set for a week's worth of bean burritos. Story 32. I have gone 6 days without eating before, just taking vitamins, so I know I could manage that. However, I would probably fast for a couple of days, then enjoy a few hot dogs each day after that, along with some low-cost spaghetti without hamburger meat and Prego meat sauce. That combination could sustain me for the remaining 5 days without any problems. 16 hot dogs cost $4, 2 packs of buns are $2, the Prego meat sauce is $3, and $1 for a package of noodles for spaghetti. Story 33. Eat one meal every 2 days. It won't kill you. Buy things that actually feed you, not just food that leaves you hungry 10 minutes later. I did that for 2 years with €40 per month left after paying all bills and rent, which is around €10 per week. Story 34. I have shopper points that I save up, like for Speedway and Sheetz, so I would use my saved points to eat. I also have friends and family who would lend me money if I needed it. Story 35. 10-pound bag of rice and some soy sauce. It won't be enjoyable, but there aren't many other options, and you are still at a significant calorie deficit. It's only for a week. It doesn't matter. Story 36. Buy some butter and eggs and go into the woods to gather some chanterelles. Now I can live for a week. Story 37. It depends on what you have to start with. If nothing, consider having one meal a day for lunch. You could get 0.7 pounds of turkey cold cuts for $6 and white bread for about $3. You might find lower quality, slimy turkey, chicken, or ham for cheaper, and then you could buy peanut butter to increase your meals to 2 a day. Alternatively, consider meal prepping. You can buy 1.2 pounds of chicken for $5 and a bag of rice. For the best value, choose a type of rice that you boil. Slice the chicken thinly and portion the rice out for the week. Story 38. Food pantry. Ours provided rice and beans, which can sustain you along with whatever else they offer. Contact local churches, as many have food pantries available inside. Story 39. A loaf of bread is $1.42 at my Walmart. A jar of peanut butter is $1.94, and a gallon of milk is $2.48. My local tax is 9%, so I could buy all of this and have money left over for some dessert for the week. Donut holes at my Walmart are $3.31, so even with tax, I would still be just under $10. Story 40. 6 bananas cost a little over $1. Assuming you have access to an oven, water, vegetable oil, and flour, you can make unleavened bread. Protein sources are limited, but canned tuna and sardines are approximately $1 per can, providing around 2 days' worth of protein each. You might want to have something like bouillon or hot tea to help trick your body into feeling full. A bag of rice is also valuable. Broken rice is usually cheaper. Many stores offer 10 for $10 sales that you can utilize for variety, but your staples will primarily be water, flour, vegetable oil, bananas, canned fish, and beans. Consider visiting discount stores to find nearly expired food on clearance, and some stores may have eat for free deals that you can use to earn gift cards on purchases. When discussing shelter, you may find yourself living on the street or, at best, in a homeless shelter. Community support is crucial here. Homeless populations are often tight-knit groups because they look out for each other. Many small to mid-sized cities have tent cities if you know where to find them, which can limit but doesn't eliminate your cooking options. Expect to be surviving hand to mouth at this point. Foraging is a way to describe eating what you can find. Good luck. Utilize whatever community resources are available to you. As long as you aren't a nuisance, many places, like libraries, will tolerate your presence during the day if you remain quiet and clean. Don't try to go it alone. Make friends and help others when you can. It will come back to you when you need it. Story 41. I have survived on $10 a week. Beef and chicken are the cheapest options. Know which stores provide free samples. Story 42. 2 packs of ramen noodles, frozen green beans, corn, peas, a bag of rice, a small carton of milk, and a 4-pack of eggs. You can make a big stew by steaming the vegetables and mixing them with the ramen so it's not just empty calories. You can use the milk for cereal if you have any extra lying around. Eggs are versatile. Eat them with green beans. Eggs can be expensive, so I'm not sure if you can find a 4-pack for less than $10. Maybe swap them for some tilapia, which is usually quite affordable. You can also use the milk for anything else you might have, like that box of oatmeal you bought but never opened or the bag of pancake mix you never used because you're not motivated to make pancakes in the morning. I did this during 1 week in college with $11, and I somehow survived. Frozen vegetables were much cheaper than I realized at the time, and they make your ramen more filling. The rice goes well with pretty much anything, but if you're desperate, throw some sauce on it and eat it by itself or use your vegetables to make fried rice. You can get free sauce packets from most fast food places. Story 43. Rice, eggs, bananas, tomatoes, and some cereal. You can go far with food for $10 in Brazil. Story 44. In New Zealand, I will probably buy a pack of bacon, a few hooks, and a hand line so I can catch fish. If that fails, I have bacon and can live off the land or sea. Story 45. Julia Pacheco and Mindy Mom are 2 YouTube channels that feature several videos on extreme budgeting. They may also have blogs available if you are unable to watch videos due to internet limitations. Additionally, consider visiting a food pantry to supplement your resources if one is available in your area. Rice and beans are still an excellent starting point. A bag of rice can cost less than $1, and a bag of dried beans typically ranges from $1 to $2, giving you a budget allowance of about $7. This all depends on having access to a place to cook, of course. Story 46. I can think of a few easy methods. Near expiry dates are what you are looking for. Not that it matters because you are going to cook it right away. Discount ramen noodles, discount sausages, or cheap eggs. A sack of potatoes and some discounted bacon. Make a big pot of chili with minced meat. Costco hot dogs. You do not need a membership if you just say you are going to the pharmacy. Maybe they will catch on. Until then, have fun. There are also shops that sell largely discounted items that are very near their expiry date. I have seen a pack of bacon and a dozen eggs for as low as $2. Surprisingly, you can still eat pretty well. Story 47. Look for your local Buy Nothing group on Facebook. There are always people giving away free food. If you ask for help, individuals may also donate. Story 48. Assuming you already have oil, salt, and a small bag of rice with a carton of eggs, that is all you need to prepare a healthy and delicious meal for the week. Cook the rice and store any leftovers in the refrigerator. You can make egg fried rice with the leftovers in the morning. The sofrito is optional and the seasoning can also be omitted. Story 49. 2 hot dogs from Sheetz for $1. You can add a variety of toppings for free that increase the calorie count. If that's the option or starvation, it's a good deal. Story 50. I once fasted for 14 days with only water, so I could manage that again if necessary. Otherwise, I had rice, beans, dandelion greens from someone's lawn, one apple, and tap water. Story 51. Pasta and sauce, bread and peanut butter, and instant oatmeal could all be purchased for under $10 and would last you a week. Story 52. If you can make it to Monday, have a box of Cheerios or something similar and 1 cup a day, along with plenty of water. Stroll around a mall for free samples during lunch and spend your day relaxing to avoid burning calories. I survived 3 weeks using this method with $40. Rationing is key. Story 53. Check out your local food pantries. This is literally why they exist. I have volunteered at 2 and drove friends to pick up their boxes. The people who run the pantries are like Italian grandmothers. They enjoy seeing people getting fed. Story 54. Option 1. Go do something you could get arrested for, but that you could have expunged or not care about later. You get food, a roof over your head, and showers. Also, you will still have $10 when you get out. Option 2. Open a bank account with your $10 if you don't have one already. You'll need that for the first step. Get a free first-week gym membership trial at a place like Retro, Blink, or Planet Fitness, which you probably need a bank account for. Now you have a place to shower. Find a hotel with free continental breakfast and take advantage of that every day. You can stock up on non-perishable items here, and they're like fruits, bagels, and muffins. Spend time at the library throughout the day. The sleeping part will be the hardest. Your best bet would be a shelter. Story 55. A 12-count pack of Polish sausage costs $2.99. A loaf of bread is $1.50. A box of spaghetti is $1.50. A jar of spaghetti sauce is $1.50. A bag of beans is 99 cents, and an 8-count pack of ramen noodles is $1.50. I can live a week on $10. You may be able to find spaghetti cheaper depending on where you shop. Water from the faucet is priceless. Story 56. Back in college, I ate Little Caesars pizza for a few days, enjoyed Subway's $5 footlongs, and consumed lots of ramen, hamburger helper, and sandwiches. Of course, this wouldn't work these days. It's too expensive. Story 57. You can roll the dice and try the Too Good to Go application. Some people receive quite a lot of food for under $10. Story 58. Salt, dried beans, and a bag of rice. If there's any remaining budget, add an onion. Collect ketchup packets. There's a noodle company nearby that has sriracha packets too. Try to grab a few of those. Visit the dollar store and see if I can find any pork products to add. Ideally Spam, but anything else will help. Story 59. A bag of rice and the hope that 2 rotisserie chickens are on sale at the local grocery store. You might be able to get about 2 pounds of rice, which is roughly 5 cups uncooked. That would provide approximately 10 comfortable servings. The average price for rice in my area is about $1 per pound. Protein is a significant concern here. I can buy a cooked and refrigerated whole rotisserie chicken at a local store for $4. Therefore, I'd suggest purchasing 2 of those, along with as much rice as possible with the remaining budget. You can also stretch the meal by taking the carcasses and boiling them in water to create a broth, but that might require additional seasoning and other ingredients to enhance the flavor. Additionally, I suggest trying intermittent fasting to limit daily consumption. The concern is overeating in one sitting when breaking the fast. However, if you have no other means of obtaining more food, you might muster the willpower to control your portions. Alternatively, you could buy 10 pounds of rice and rely on carbohydrates, but you might struggle after the second day and face malnutrition. Adding some protein can help reduce hunger and make you feel fuller longer. That's my best attempt at surviving for a week on $10. Many people suggested beans, which could be a good option as well. I rarely eat beans in my daily life, so it's not my first thought, but mixing beans into rice 50/50ths or substituting some beans for chicken could provide a protein-rich option to help fill your stomach and reduce hunger after eating. Story 60. Am I a solid 9 or 10 on a dating scale? That significantly changes the ease of surviving the week with no cash. Story 61. Bag of potatoes, cheapest available. Red lentils. I was going to suggest 6 eggs, but that may be pricey now depending on where you live. Story 62. What about a month on $100? It's crazy seeing all these comments. Knowing how blessed I am with $100 a month. It's not enough for anything, but somehow it works. Story 63. Enjoy complimentary continental breakfasts and grab some fruit and snacks to take with you. Bring a backpack to give the impression that you stayed there, and you can also fill it with food. For dinner, consider a $1 cheeseburger. If you are looking for a healthier option, a can of beans is available. Story 64. I would just have to divide the 10-pound note into 7 portions and try not to consume the entire note in one day. Can I at least dip it in sauce? Story 65. In college, I used to survive on 1 or 2 loaves of day-old bread from Jimmy John's each day. They were 50 cents each. Are they still 50 cents each? I have no idea. If they are, that's what I'll be doing. Story 66. I work at a university, so I will talk to the dining hall about setting up a tab and will pay them back next week. Story 67. I would buy inexpensive staples such as rice, beans, and oats, drink tap water, walk everywhere, and utilize free resources like libraries and parks. Every dollar would be allocated toward essential survival needs only. Story 68. Suggestions below may depend on your country or accessibility in your area, and also assume you have appliances and tools to prepare meals. Mains and sides: rice, beans, rotisserie chicken, head of cabbage or lettuce. Beverage: optional inexpensive water bottle, insulated if possible for refilling or drinking hot or cold water at public parks. Cafes like Starbucks may accommodate with free hot water if you ask. Some fast food places may give you a cup of ice water if you ask. Enhancers: get salt, pepper, sugar, and any miscellaneous seasonings or sauce packets. Soy sauce, plum sauce, duck sauce, ketchup, mustard, jams, etc. from your neighborhood Chinese and fast food restaurants. Some have a customer grab-and-go station set up. Get sugar, honey, and other sweeteners from local cafes, coffee shops, or gas stations. Some also have a station that has extra packets for grab-and-go. Some hotels that provide free breakfast will have a grab-and-go station with packets of jellies, jams, peanut butter, cream cheese, syrup, and regular butter. Staff has also been open to giving some away if you ask. Also supplement your budget by rotating visits on some or most days to your local food bank or religious center, as starvation doesn't care about your religion or orientation. Good luck. Story 69. Rice, dried beans, chop firewood, and start a fire from scratch. Gas in Texas costs more than $10 a week, so I can only cook using wood-burning fires, I guess. Story 70. I think of sweet potatoes, beans, rice, and sardines. Not all at the same time, but they are fairly cheap and nutritious. Story 71. Rice and beans for lunch or dinner. Oatmeal for breakfast. 1 or maybe 2 apples. 1 head of iceberg lettuce if the budget allows. Story 72. Honestly, basic sandwiches from the clearance section in stores typically consist of turkey slices, mixed greens or lettuce, tomato, onion, and bread. Sometimes there may be cheese if the budget allows. Even then, it's often just 1 tomato and 1 onion, which requires careful rationing, resulting in a caloric deficit of around 500 to 800 calories a day. Story 73. I'm not sure about the United States, but in Europe, where I live, oatmeal is a better choice. Oats have significantly more nutrients than rice, and you can get the fiber-rich kind. For protein, consider lentils and beans. Adding raw garlic can serve as a natural antibacterial. Also, include some inexpensive apples if possible. If we are discussing survival for a week, you'd be fine with this, but obviously this is a one-time solution. You can't rely solely on these foods for months. Story 74. Visit a couple of restaurants and offer to be the dishwasher. Inform them that you will be the only sober dishwasher they have ever had. Story 75. Depends on your preference. Option 1. Cook a large amount of pasta, boil it, then fry it with eggs frequently. Option 2. Enjoy pasta with ketchup. Option 3. Use potatoes or rice in place of pasta, following the same steps. Fried potato wedges, boiled and cooled beforehand, can be quite nice with a bit of seasoning like salt and pepper. Story 76. I agree, but only because I pay my mortgage and usually buy groceries once a month. If I were on a street without food, it would be difficult. Story 77. Buy 2 cans of tuna for $2 and 2 packs of ramen for 59 cents each. Add butter for $1.38, peanut butter for $1.84, jelly for $1.99, and bread for $1.42. The total is $9.81. If the tax exceeds the budget, remove 1 can of tuna or eliminate the butter, but keep 1 can of tuna. Story 78. Rice and peas 2 pounds, and pasta with tinned tomatoes and herbs 2 pounds. 5 bananas 1 pound. Value bread and jam 2 pounds. Black coffee and squash 2 pounds. Toilet roll may be required if you do not have a place to go to the restroom. Story 79. I would get bread, hash browns, and cheese. This meal will last me 3 days. Then I would get another bread. I would eat that for an entire week, 3 times a day. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Story 80. Food-wise, $2 a day can provide 3 unhealthy meals. I could survive for a month or 2, but my health would not be good at all. Story 81. I often did this during my time in my first apartment. In 2009, I would buy a small bag of frozen chicken breasts, a bag of frozen corn, and a few inexpensive macaroni and cheese boxes. I basically ate that for every meal cooking on my grill. I often took many snacks to work, and at school, I would take my friends' drink cups that they were about to discard and use them to get refills. Story 82. I could take this money and feed myself for a month. I would buy milk, flour, and vitamins. I would boil them down to little energy balls to sustain me. Story 83. Buy a pen for 50 cents, then keep trading for something more valuable. Sell the valuable item for money. Story 84. Honestly, it wouldn't be that hard to buy a couple of boxes of ramen and eat 1 or 2 packages a day. It wouldn't be that nutritious, but it would easily keep me alive. Alternatively, I could just buy a small amount of cannabis and do a week-long water fast. If you mention that it would be hard for me to find a place to cook if I only had $10, I would just buy a plastic bowl from a dollar store and go to random bathrooms until I found one with hot water. I would pour the hot water over the ramen and let it sit until it's somewhat edible. Story 85. I survived a week with 26 cents one time. Luckily, I had some food at home and a quarter tank of gas. For $10, cancel plans, eat any food you already have, sleep instead of eating dinner, and drink water. Get rolled oats and milk of your choice to eat. Use the rest of the money for gas and only drive to and from work. Story 86. Sometimes you can get a whole loaf of French bread at the Walmart bakery for 80 cents. As a start. Story 87. I wouldn't trust the meat unless it is still frozen, but you can more easily tell which produce is good or not. Bakeries discard items that are a day old and cannot be sold. Sell-by dates are not the same as use-by dates. Story 88. Place $10 on either the banker or player in online baccarat. Observe a few hands and bet with the crowd when the moment is right. You will receive $20 transferred to you in a day or 2. You could double it to $40, but I recommend taking the $20 and leaving, as you might end up with nothing. A $10 bet is not sustainable for a week anyway. Story 89. While a teenager traveling in India, I had about $1 to last me 3 days due to poor planning. I stayed at a Salvation Army hostel in a large dorm shared with others where payment wasn't required. Each morning, I bought a bunch of bananas from a street vendor, and at lunch I found a place that served rice on banana leaves instead of plates, accompanied by a side of chutney. Those 2 foods were sufficient to get me by. Story 90. Buy a bus ticket to reach food banks and churches that offer donation-based lunch services once a week. Story 91. Rice, baked beans, and hot dogs. Use pantries for food. Walk to where I need to go. Wash clothes in the tub. I have already done that. It's too easy. Story 92. Do you include the need for housing as well? Food would be easy, but needing a roof also means a lot of effort. Story 93. Most of my meals are about 1 per serving, and I only eat breakfast and dinner. I would likely divide the larger meals into 2 servings to stay under the $10 limit. Story 94. Bakers throw out their bread from yesterday, and markets have unsellable fruit. If you ask them for an apple, you'll usually find they will let you have it. If you get the bread, ask at a kebab shop for some sauce. The Turkish people are some of the most generous. Consider fasting. It's healthy, especially for 72 hours. People in fast food places or restaurants often leave food. Working for food is doable, and skipping, meaning checking out supermarkets' trash, can occasionally be a goldmine. Story 95. My local library has a take-what-you-need system. I hang out at the local parks near the water fountains, and if there isn't any food available, I get some ramen noodles and rice. Story 96. In this thread, everyone is forgetting about taxes and the ability to cook. It is very expensive to be homeless, and even if you are not, you still have to account for transportation to and from places. Story 97. Look for a Gurdwara near you. If it is there, you are in luck. They serve food during lunch and dinner times, and in return, you can help them with cleaning or doing dishes if you wish. Story 98. Food. I can survive for at least 2 weeks drinking only tap water. Transport. I work from home. Socializing. This makes me laugh. House and land paid for. Utilities. $10 will never cover one day. It costs far more for a week. So, plan B. Live in the office. There is no way for me to get to the office on $10, and I drive a hybrid. I could walk, but that's about 40 kilometers. Story 99. Up until sometime in the 1500s, humanity lived on the equivalent of $600 per year. To supplement their diet, people likely grew turnips and occasionally caught rabbits. However, $600 per year is the minimum for anyone. This equates to about $2 per day or $12 per week. $10 is insufficient without the occasional theft of bread and fruits. Story 100. I have done something similar before in 2017, but that was before the major inflation we have experienced recently. Back then, I was following a diet of rice, the occasional egg or hot dog for protein, and cereal. It was a difficult time. Most of my meals consisted of empty carbohydrates. If I had to do it all over again, I believe there are smarter ways to approach this. I would probably make soup with some inexpensive cuts of meat that are discounted at the grocery store and eat it with rice. In 2017, I could buy a large amount of chuck for $7 at my local store, but I am not sure if those deals still exist. Living on the edge of poverty was the hardest thing I ever experienced, and it took a significant toll on my mental health. It took a long time to start healing my relationship with money and to feel comfortable with spending it. Story 101. It depends on what I might be starting with. Right now, if I only had $10 for the remainder of the month, I would be fine. I am feeding 7 people. This is because I have been on disability for years, and I am very familiar with the issue of running out of money before the month ends. Over time, I have accumulated a fair amount of long-lasting food. I have approximately 15 pounds of dry rice, half a dozen cans of kidney beans, and 5 boxes of instant chicken noodle soup courtesy of food banks. I also have half a flat of ramen, large rectangular tubs of frozen chicken stock, some ham ends, and so on. Additionally, I have 2 bags full of bread heels that I can turn into stuffing or bread pudding. While the menu might be monotonous, I can keep my supplies stocked for up to 2 weeks if something prevents me from shopping as usual. Story 102. Oh, only $10? I will have to seek help from my local food bank and spend the $10 on the lowest possible cost food to have a chance of making it through the week. Story 103. Potatoes and peanut butter. Provided I have a place to boil them, I would be satisfied. Peanut butter with added salt specifically. I could eat potatoes for a week if I could cook them. If I had no way of cooking, I would either get used to the taste of raw potato or buy a lot of peanut butter instead. Cans of beans. Story 104. Hustle hard. Visit a food bank, connect with friends, sell items, recycle, offer services, or go to a temporary agency. That 10 will become 100 by the end of the week. Story 105. Planet Fitness membership provides access to shelter, showers, and water. Many patrons may also be willing to share their calorie-dense food items. Story 106. I would start with what I have in my pantry. a lot of flour and rice, some butter, about a dozen eggs, and a couple of sad onions. I would pick up a 5-pound bag of potatoes for $3.49, a bag of dry beans for about $2, a can of diced tomatoes, and a bag of frozen stir-fry vegetables. I would chop the potatoes and one of my sad onions, fry them in butter, scramble 4 to 6 eggs, and mix everything together with whatever seasoning I have in my cabinet. It would make a good, filling breakfast for the week. For beans and rice, it's a filling dish that provides complete protein and lots of micronutrients. I would cook the rice with some of the turkey broth I canned at Thanksgiving, but honestly, water would be fine if you add salt. Spices would enhance the flavor. Then I would add the beans, a can of tomatoes, and some of my stir-fry vegetables for several meals. Lastly, I would make a pot of soup. I have a half to 3/4 of a bag of vegetables left. I would chop and fry any remaining onions and caramelize them in butter. After adding flour and cooking it down, I would stir in more turkey broth and add my frozen vegetables. I would chop some more potatoes to add in and maybe rice if I feel like it. I would season everything, bring it to a boil, and then let it simmer until it smells good. I could also make bread to go with it. Honestly, I probably still have some beans and potatoes left. Alternatively, I could bake a loaf of bread. I would buy a jar of peanut butter for $2.19. I can have peanut butter toast or eggs and toast or even French toast. I would buy a can of tomato paste for 89 cents, a knob of ginger for $1, and a bunch of kale for $1.59. I could use some of my peanut butter to make a peanut soup with my onions and serve that over rice. A head of broccoli for $1.89 and an 8-ounce block of cheddar for $2.29 would allow me to make risotto with my rice and broth. The total would be about $9.85, which is probably more than I can eat in a week and offers some variety. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.